Okay. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to start lying down. I'm just going to bring my computer screen down a moment. Here we go. Okay. We're going to start lying down. Have a blanket, whether you need to fold it in half or whether it needs to be flat. Find the height that allows and supports the curvature of the neck. So you might find you want a soft cushion rather than a blanket to see what that feels like. We're going to start in what's called constructive rest pose. This is a pose that we use so we can access a sense of release into the sides. So we'll be doing a few poses to release and strengthen that. So with the knees bent and your feet are facing forward, I invite you to maybe find that position of your feet where you feel most comfortable into your lower back. So maybe the heels might, as an example, come a little bit forward away from the knees. So find that position where your back is not overarched nor is it flat, and you feel you can really settle in. So you want to feel that your spine and your whole back, your diaphragm, the rib cage, lower abdomen, pelvis feels really soft. And taking your hands and just placing them onto the lower abdomen towards the hip creases. And we're going to start directing our breath into the lower abdomen and also towards the hip creases. Sort of visualizing the space, lower abdomen, hip creases. Inviting a sense of softness into the breath as you breathe in, feeling a gentle expansion into sides of waist and back. And as you breathe out, feeling a sense of emptying completely of abdomen, sides of waist, gently draw in. So we're directing the breath into the abdomen, hip creases, back, breathing out from this place. And stay here for a few breaths. So when we have any issues with tightening of the psoas muscle, which is a deep muscle underneath your abdominal muscles, it's linked quite strongly into our diaphragm. So in this time where we can sometimes find our nervous system is a bit all over the place with lockdown and life in general, not only does our breathing pattern change, which affects our nervous system, but it also affects the ability of the psoas to release. And when the psoas tightens, when we feel we are under a fight or flight mode, and that can be in one breath, in one single breath, the system can go and feel really tight when we get a shock, a fright, or hearing news or anything like that. So the more we can train and access our breath, which is what we focus on each week, to feel easeful, and starting in this constructive rest pose where we're allowing a sense of softening and release into the psoas, is one way to begin to access into a sense of rest into the body. Sometimes even if we're over exercising, it can actually send us too far into our stress response, and we can tighten up and can seem like we're undoing all that good that we think we are doing. So it's always about that balance. All right, and then just gently coming back into the breath into the abdomen. Right, so let's start with hugging the right thigh knee into the chest. And again, choose to maybe keep the foot on the floor or straight in the left leg. And have a little bit of a play. So just see, if you were to move that right thigh knee a little bit from side to side, can we sense where is the most comfortable place for that hip socket? Does it feel better if the knee and the thigh come out to the side? Does it feel better if we bring it back over and in? So find that place for you, snuggle it in, and just rest here. If the kneecap feels any stress of any kind, sometimes interlacing behind the back of that knee will take that pressure off. So find the hold for you, behind the knee or maybe onto that shin. And just softening those shoulder blades back down the back. Consciously, gently draw the chin in and down. Feel you can mount the back of the head down. Let's just stay here So we're going to begin again as we straighten the right leg along the floor. This is the inhale, arms over the back of the head, lengthen out. Use your out breath as you hug the thigh knee into the chest. And we're going to do that movement 2 times with the breath. Feel yourself breathe in. The movement follows the breath. Feel when you breathe out, hugging the thigh and the knee into the chest. So one more time, feel that you're really following the breath rather than just physically moving with the physical movement. Just stay hugging that thigh and the knee into the chest. And then from here, interlace behind that back of that thigh and just gently press the back of the thigh into the palm. And have a little bit of resistance. So you're pressing the back of the thigh in, not with the full force, just enough to feel a little bit, and you're gently trying to draw the thigh back to you as it presses into your palm. And then relax, so we're not pressing anything. Let's just do some ankle rotations. Nice and slow. We want to really gauge and feel into that movement of that ankle joint, knowing that this is intricately linked to how our knee joint is feeling often. Okay, let's slowly go full movement into the opposite direction. Okay, hug the thigh knee into the chest. Hopefully your strap or your scarf is nearby. We're going to find our strap or scarf. We're going to make a little loop around the foot. So what I tend to do is I kind of do a loop and a loop. So I've got a loop around the top of my foot there. Extending the heel to the ceiling. So we're going to have a little bit of a play with the inversion and eversion of our foot to also see how that affects into that knee joint. So just loosely holding onto the strap, softening the shoulder blades down. So you're going to gently draw down on the outside of that strap, feeling how your foot is turning in. And then you're going to gently draw down on the inside of the strap and feel how your foot at that ankle joint is moving away. And then again from the outside strap, drawing that down so the foot is turning in. And then on the inside of the strap, drawing that down, feel how that foot is now turning out. And then just coming back, you can unloop the strap. So it's the strap still around your foot, but just unlooping it. Let's create a bit of space into that hip joint. So on the inhale, lower the leg a little bit away. Breathing out, gently draw it back. And have that back of the knee soft. Have it a little bit bent. Inhale, the leg moves away. On an out breath, drawing it back. Let's do that one more time. It's on an inhale, we're creating space into the hip crease. On an out breath, drawing it back. Just holding it here with the breath, relax. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring the right leg just a little bit out to the side, make a little bit of space into the hip joint, just a little bit. And then we're going to bend the thigh and the knee down. And then we're going to imagine it's kind of like when you're trying to push someone up on the top bunk. So you're going to press into the strap as you gently resist and draw down. So you're kind of feeling like you're adding a bit of load here. And then you relax and allow that thigh and the knee to bend in. And then gently drawing down on the strap as you press up, kind of like your foot's on the bottom bunk and you're trying to lift that top bunk up. Relax as you bend the thigh and the knee in. And then resist, drawing down on the straps as you press up with that foot. And then just relax that. Now the elbows are really loose. We're just really loosely holding onto the strap, just enough to allow a little bit of guidance to circle. So now we're warming into that hip joint and all the muscles around. So you're just kind of barely holding onto the strap, really. We're allowing the circles to be in a full circumference. Now let's just check in. If our left leg is straight, can we really anchor the back of the leg down into the floor? And then pause. And let's circle in the opposite direction. Nice and slow. Extend out through that heel. Drawing your toes up, checking in that the shoulders, blades are softening down the back. One more time, full circumference. And then gently coming back. Just release the strap and let's hug that thigh and the knee into the chest. Now taking your left palm onto that left thigh And we're going to bring the knee on top of the thigh and the ankle and shin in line, and take your right palm on top of that right thigh. Now I want you to gently press into your right palm as you try to resist. And then relax. One more time, press into your palm as you try to resist. So remember your knees on top of your hip and your ankle and shin are in line. And then relax. And then one more time, press into your palm with that thigh as you resist. And then relax. Hug the thigh knee in. And then lengthen out. And just giving that leg from that hip open and close. Feeling how as you turn the foot in and out, that movement is creating an internal and external rotation into that hip as well. And then just let it go. Okay, let's open into the hugging the left thigh into the chest and find that position. Have a little bit of play moving that thigh and the knee a little bit out to the side. Draw it back into the center of the chest and then find that little snug position where it feels right into that hip joint for you. Check in, maybe it feels great holding onto the shin. Maybe the kneecap is happier if you hold behind the knee. So find that position for you. Softening shoulder blades down. And then straightening the leg on the inhale along the floor, arms over the back of the head, lengthen in each direction. Feel when you breathe out as you hug the thigh and the knee into the chest. On an inhale, we're lengthening in each direction along the floor. On an out breath, hugging the thigh and the knee back into the chest. Let's do it one more time. On an inhale, lengthen out in each direction. On an exhale, hug the thigh and the knee back into the chest. Staying here with the breath, relax, interlace behind the back, extend the left heel towards the ceiling. So without locking that knee, let's just gently press the back of the thigh into the palm as we gently draw the palm towards us at the same time. And then relax that. Again, press the back of the thigh into the palm as you draw it towards you. Relax. One more time, press the back of the thigh into the palm as we draw it towards. And then relax. Let's do some ankle rotations. So we'll do 3 times really slowly. So as you gaze at that ankle joint, can we get a full circumference in the other direction as well now? Really draw the toes up towards your head. Gently point them away and just see if it's smooth or is it a little bit jaggedy. And then hug the knee into the chest, find that strap. So we take a loop around the foot. And then extend the heel out. Just loosely hold on to the strap. And let's see what it's like, the inversion and eversion of the foot here. So let's start on the inside of the strap. As we draw that down, how does that feel into that knee and how does that feel into that ankle and foot? And then the outside strap, drawing it down. What kind of movement do we have here? And then slowly again, inside strap, drawing down. Maybe there's more movement this way. Just go easy, especially if you have any injuries into the ankle joint. And then the other way, drawing it down. And how does that compare to the other side? And then release, unloop, and just holding onto the strap. And here we go. On the inhale, lower the leg a little bit away from you. Soften that kneecap as you breathe out, drawing it back, flexing that foot. Let's do that a couple of times. Just create and set that space into the hip crease. So things to note, making sure that the back of the knee is soft, the back of the knee, the neck is long, drawing the chin in and down, and that we're softening the shoulder blades down and back. So let's hold it here. And then we're going to take the left leg just a little bit out to the side. And we're going to bend that thigh and the knee down into the chest. And then we're going to resist. So we're going to draw down on the strap and press the foot up as we're drawing down. So then a little bit of load and resistance. And then we relax so we can bend the thigh and the knee back in. And we're trying to press the sole of the foot up to the ceiling as we're gently drawing down through the strap at the same time. One more time, relax and just bend that knee and thigh in. And then gently draw down on the strap as we resist and press up into that strap. And then relax and just loosely holding onto the straps. And let's see, doing some hip circles onto the side. How does it feel? Again, anchor down through the back of that right leg. Drawing the toes up, kneecap facing up to the ceiling. See, does it feel okay to make the circles a little bit bigger, or do you need to stay smaller? And in the opposite direction now. Moving in the opposite direction. One more time. And then let's hug that left thigh knee into the chest. And then we're going to bring the knee on top of the hip, the shin and ankle in line. Take your left palm onto the left thigh, right palm onto right thigh, and resist. So you're pressing into your palm as you're resisting. And then relax. Press the left thigh into the palm as you resist. Relax. One more time. Press into the palm as you resist. And then relax, and then straighten that leg out along the floor. And take the arms over the back of the head. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Right, let's hug the knees into the chest, roll over. Let's find a block, because I know everyone's got a block. Coming on back, onto your back. So we're going to have the feet about hip width apart. Let's place a block underneath the buttocks, underneath the sacrum. So another good way to create a bit of length and release into the psoas muscle, and especially, you know, sometimes at night time we might curl into a ball or feel really squeezed tight, and then we wake up in the morning, we're just like, oh, I feel like I need to kind of stretch out, or maybe at the end of the day, like today. So straighten your right leg along the floor, take your right arm over the back of the head. And what we want to do here is feel we can really sink down into that floor, and at the same time feel heel down, kneecap facing ceiling, toes drawing up, that we're lengthening back through the fingertips and lengthening back out through that heel. Lengthen, lengthen, and then soften down. So we want to allow time and space to create a sense of opening and lengthening through here. And then relax, coming back, and let's straighten the left leg along the floor, left arm over the back of the head. Kneecap facing up to ceiling, heel down, toes towards your head, so we're not turning the foot out to one side. Sink down into the floor, and then lengthen back in each direction. Lengthen, 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 and then sink down. Just allow time and space for a sense of softening as we create the length. So it's like we're trying to lengthen the fascia along each side of the body through this. And then relax, bringing both feet on the floor. And then we're going to straighten both legs. So just feel into this, having both legs straight, maybe taking the arms like a cactus, maybe the arms are overhead, sinking and softening the lower abdomen down. If it doesn't feel right, then come back and bend the knees, feet on the floor. This is another way to allow a sense of lengthening into that psoas. If we do a lot of sitting, a lot of office work, a lot of driving, often we can create a tightening. And again, a couple more breaths here. Just living in today's world can physically create the tightening of the psoas through that connection into that nervous system. So bend the knees, feet on the floor, lift your buttocks up, and let's place the block between the thighs and the knees. Take a moment to sink back down, feel into that lower lumbar. And as you breathe in, we're going to do some pelvic tilt. So even take your hands onto your hips. It's a really nice reference point. So as you breathe in, you're going to roll the hip bones towards the heels. So you're creating a comfortable arch in your lower lumbar. And when you breathe out, you're going to lengthen sacrum and tailbone to heels. And you'll feel the lower abdominal muscles draw down into the floor, lower back into the floor. So on an inhale, hip bones roll to heels, arch in the lower back that feels right for you. And when you breathe out, lengthen sacrum, tailbone, lumbar into floor, navel to spine. Relax the hands down. So now that you can feel that physical movement, start to tune into the natural breath. So as you inhale, hip bones like torch lights are shining towards the heels, and as you breathe out, sacrum, tailbone lengthening along the mat, lumbar to floor, navel towards the spine. So keep this pelvic rocking movement going. You're gently squeezing the block, not with the full force, but just enough to make sure the block is staying there. One more time. And coming back to what feels comfortable, the neutral spine we refer to. So it's not overarched nor is it flat. All right, so from here, let's pick up, keep the block between your thighs, but draw the knees into the chest. You might just need to move that block away so it doesn't squash into the tummy. Take the hands onto the knees. Now, the heels stay relaxed down. Okay, we're just moving the knees. So the hands on the knees. As you breathe in, press the knees away so the arms are straight. And as you breathe out, hug the thighs and knees back into the chest. So feel into that lower back. So as you breathe in, feel the sit bones are rolling into the floor, and there's an arch creation in the lower lumbar through this movement. As you breathe out, hug the thighs and knees into the chest. Feel the sacrum lengthening, feel the lower lumbar. Keep hugging thighs and knees in, and then when you need to breathe in, press the knees away. This movement's just creating again that movement into that lower back. Keep breathing out, keep drawing in, and we'll do one more time. All right, let's remove the block and take the feet down onto the mat as wide apart as your mat. Okay, so your feet are as wide apart as your mat facing forward. Arms are out to the side. So we're moving into creating length now down from the hip, down the outside of that thigh, out through the knee. So if we take the knees over to the right, so the feet stay as wide apart as the mat, knees over to the right, turn to look over to your left, and you want to feel you can comfortably lengthen from the top of this left hip, down that thigh, out through the kneecap, and anchor the back of the shoulders into the floor. And then come up, so the knees are to the ceiling, your feet are still facing forward as wide apart as your mat, knees to the left, turn to look to the right. And we want to feel we can comfortably lengthen from the top of this right hip, down the thigh, out through the kneecap towards the floor, and anchor the back of the shoulders and arms into the floor, and then come back. So this time when we take the knees over to the right and we turn to the left, bring your left arm along the floor over by the ear. So you're stretching back through that left arm and out through that kneecap, and then coming back and over, the knees to the left, turn to the right. We'll bring the right arm over by the ear. It still stays on the floor. We're lengthening back, kind of like I'm waking up and I'm feeling this big, beautiful release down the side. And then coming back. And then walking your feet about hip width in. And we're going to use our block. We're going to press down through the feet. Just keep the arms where they are. Press down as you breathe in, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. When you breathe out, slowly lowering the spine, buttocks, sacrum, sit bones rolling into the mat. As you breathe in, lifting the hips up to the ceiling. Now open your palms to the ceiling. So the back of your arms stay on the floor. We're just rolling, opening into the inner arms. And when you breathe out, you're rolling your palms back down. So as you breathe in, you're pressing through your feet, lifting the hips to the ceiling, opening the inner arms and palms up to the ceiling. The back of the arms are pressing into the floor. And when you breathe out, coming all the way down. So one more time as you breathe in, lifting up into a bridge pose, roll and open the inner arms, palms up to the ceiling, back of the arms pressing down, getting a nice opening, draw the shoulder blades together, and then breathing out slowly, coming all the way down. Release the block and hug the knees into your chest. And then let's roll all the way over to the side, and then coming all the way up. So as always, if you feel you'd like to put a blanket under your knees, do so. Otherwise, let's come back onto the hands and the knees. So your palms are underneath your shoulders, and relax the top of your feet down. And if, point to note that sometimes it's quite nice if we get a tendency to get a little bit of cramp into the top of our feet because we get quite tight sometimes with either shin splints or running through here, then taking like a little bit of a roll of a blanket and placing it to support the top of my ankles and shins can sometimes help take that load or pressure off. It's not everyone likes to press the top of their feet down, especially, as I say, the hernia shin splints. Right, let's move the spine. So here we go. Breathing in, drawing your chest forward. Draw your palms back towards you. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. And as you breathe out, press the floor away, chin to chest, curling the tailbone under. Keep this movement going. Inhale. Palms draw back, shoulder blades slide down. Exhale, chin to chest, press the floor away, curling the tailbone under. We'll do 2 more times. Really feeling and tuning into that movement of the spine. The awareness of the breath, connecting into the movement. And then from here, we're going to bring the right foot between our hands. So stepping the right foot between the hands. Check in that the kneecap is facing forward over your second and third toe. Press the back foot down and then coming up into this low lunge. So again, what we're doing here is we're wanting to feel that we can create a sense of length down this left side. So what I want you to do is see what it feels like if you were trying to rip the mat apart. So it's as if your front foot's going that way as it presses down, and that your back foot, which is pressing down, is going in the opposite direction. And now, what does it feel like if you're trying to draw everything back in? And then come to that point where you're still feeling a nice length, but you can maintain it. So maybe, does it feel better if you're trying to bring the feet apart a little bit? Or does it feel better if you're trying to draw them in? Find that point for yourself, and then feel that you're lengthening and lifting up from the top of the hip here. Feel that you're lengthening up as you lengthen down. Just staying here for a few more breaths. Let's bring our left arm by the ear. Stabilize that front foot, lengthen up, soften the shoulder blades down the back, and let's come a little bit over to the right. Make sure that front kneecap's not moving. Coming back, take both hands down either side, lift your hips and buttocks back, and you'll be like, you might be feeling this in the top of that thigh now, so bend the knee as much as you need to and lengthen out of the spine, and then gently pressing that foot down. We're just going to move the hips back, drawing the toes up, facing the knee, onto the ankle, coming forward, shifting hips and buttocks back. Let's do that one more time. Great, let's come back to the hands and the knees, and then come back and shift your left foot forward. Checking in the kneecap over the second and third toe, and then let's come up into that low lunge. So even though sometimes we come down really low, because we want to feel and we want to create a nice length along the side, this is why we're coming up a bit higher here. Now again, stabilize that front knee, press down from the front heel and the pad under the big toe and little toe, press the back foot down, and just see, have a feel, what feels better for you. Do you feel like you've got more connection if your feet are like on ice and slipping apart and ripping the mat apart? Or does it feel better if you're trying to draw your feet in towards each other? So find that point, and then start to feel that you're lengthening up from the top of your right hip, and so you lengthen down through that back thigh, and then raise your right arm by the ear. Soften the shoulder blade down the back, keep that front knee stable, and then come a little bit over to the left. Feel the connection of your breath. By that I mean notice again when you breathe in and out. Lifting up, hands either side, shift your hips and buttocks back, draw the front toes up, soften that front knee, lengthen through the spine, lift out of the waist, and then bend the knee, walk the hands forward. So I'm going to use that movement. We're just coming back, drawing the toes up, and gently placing the foot back down. Move the hands back if that gives you more range of movement. Do one more time. Right, let's come back to the hands and the knees. Let's curl our right toes under and press back into that heel. And then to the other side, curl the left toes under and press back into that heel. And from here, we're going to come up onto our knees. So again, you might want to pad up underneath that knee blanket. So we're going to take our right leg out to the side, take your right leg out to the side, and your heel to heel in line with your knee. Now, for some people, they might want to have their toes turned in, like mine are turned facing you, or other people might feel comfortable. I find that places too much pressure on my knees, so just see which way, foot in or foot out. Okay, so we're going to open and lengthen along the side of the body. So we're going to take the arms out to the side, and then we're going to come over, taking the left hand onto the floor, and bring the right arm over the ear, turning the palm down. Lengthen through the top fingers, and press down into the outside edge of that foot. Come all the way back up. Then taking the same arm onto the outside of that leg, slide it down and bring the outside arm up, lengthen up, maybe stay here or maybe coming over. So now, as I just showed with my hand, we're getting a really quite a strong opening, so don't come over too far. Lengthen through the top fingers and then coming all the way up. So with a breath, I'm going to take a breath in here, breathing out, hand onto the floor, arm over the ear. On an in-breath, coming all the way up, and an out-breath, cartwheeling all the way over. On an in-breath, coming up, exhale, coming all the way over, lengthening through the top fingers. Press into the outside edge of that bottom foot. Inhale to come up one more time. On an exhale, coming over to the side, into the side gate pose. Inhale to come up. Exhale, relax down and slowly draw that leg in. And we'll go to the other side. So again, checking in, heel is in line with the knee, and what feels best for the ankle and the foot, facing forward or turned out. Arms out to the side, so we know where we're going. We'll just go with the breath straight away. On an inhale, exhale, hand to the floor, arm over the ear, lengthen through top fingers. On an in-breath, lifting up. On an out-breath, hand sliding where it's comfortable and arm coming over where it feels right, lengthen through fingers. On an inhale, lifting up. On an exhale, coming down, lengthen out through the top fingers. Press into the outside edge of your foot. On an in-breath to lift up. Out-breath coming over to the side. We'll do one more. So we inhale, the out-breath coming over. Press into the outside edge of that foot on the floor. Inhale to come up. Exhale, coming over to the side, lengthen through the top fingers. And then inhale, coming up. And exhale, slowly relaxing that knee down. Coming back to the hands and the knees, we're going to play with coming into down dog. So in the palms under the shoulders, let's bring the hands a little bit forward and maybe a little bit out to the side. Find that stable base where it feels right for your shoulders. Fingers spread wide apart. First finger facing forward. Curl your toes under, shift your buttocks back. Now we're going to press the mat away and lift the sit bones up to the ceiling. Relax your head between the arms and keep pressing the mat away, rising the sit bones to the ceiling, and then begin to soften the heels to the floor. From here, the toes stay where they are. We're just bending one knee into the chest and softening your opposite heel into the floor to open into the back line of that leg. And then swap, bend the opposite knee into the chest and press that heel towards that mat, staying here. Bend both knees into the chest, sit bones rise to ceiling, press the floor away and soften both heels down into the mat. Roll the armpits in and hug the front of the ribs into the back. Bend your knees, walk up to the top of your mat, feet about hip width apart facing forward. Breathing in, come all the way up, sweep your arms wide and high, bring the hands into the centre of the chest. So as you breathe in, take your arms wide and high. Breathing out, bending the knees, hinge forward, hands onto the shins, breathing into a half lift. And breathing out, bend the knees, come all the way back up. Hands into the centre of the chest. On an inhale, sweep your arms wide and high. Breathing out, come all the way forward. Hands onto the shins as you breathe in, do a half lift. Breathing out, bend the knees, sit back, and use your next in-breath to come all the way up. Breathing out, bring the hands into the centre of the chest. We're going to come all the way down this time, so we still circle the arms on an inhale. Breathing out, coming all the way down, hands onto the shins, do a half lift again as you breathe in. Breathing out, fingertips on the floor. Relax your breath, let's take our right leg back and stay into this high lunge. So checking in, kneecap is on top of ankle, Placing second or third toe, press back into the heel and lift your hips and buttocks a little bit higher. Press into the back heel, press your face away from the floor, draw your chin slightly in and back. And then from here, front foot back, and we come back into down dog. Come down onto the knees, step your right foot forward, kneecap over second and third toe. Curl the back toes under, lift your back thigh knee off the floor, lift your hips and buttocks up a bit high, press into the back heel, press your face away from the floor, keep that neck long. And then bend the back knee, step the front foot back into down dog. Come down to the hands and the knees, step your left foot forward, lift your back thigh knee off the ground, press into that back heel. From here, front foot back, down dog again. And again, one more time, hands and knees, right foot forward, lift back thigh knee off the ground, press into that heel. And then from here, we're going to bend the back knee and maybe one or two steps, coming forward, bend the knees, sweep your arms out wide and high, bring the hands into the center of the chest. Staying there, I'm going to move my mat back, too close to my screen. All right, so here we go. As we breathe in, take your arms wide and high. And as you breathe out, forward fold. Bend the knees, we're hinging from the hip creases, hands onto the shins. Inhale, come to a half lift. Breathing out, bend the knees, fingertip the floor. And just relax the breath and take the right leg back. Then take the left leg back and we're coming back into down dog. Come down to the hands and the knees. Relax the top of your feet down. So where your palms are, we're going to take the elbows and interlace the fingers. We're going to go into what's called the dolphin pose and just see how this feels into your shoulders. It's used mostly to increase the strength of the shoulders, but if it doesn't feel right, then don't. You can always just go into the down dog. So what we're going to do is curl the toes under. We're pressing down through the elbows, the forearms, the hands into the mat. We're going to lift the sit bones up to the ceiling and walk our feet into where it's comfortable for us, keeping a softness into the knees, lifting the sit bones up to the ceiling and pressing the floor away. Another breath here. Wiggle your toes away. Come down to the hands and the knees. Press up and then come back into pose of child, stretching the arms forward and softening your forehead down to the mat. From here, gaze up between the hands. We're going to do another side opening. Let's walk around to our left, keeping the buttocks onto the heels, hands about shoulder width apart, softening the forehead between the hands, softening and rolling the armpits in. Looking up between the hands, walk your hands all the way around to the right, softening forehead towards the floor, rolling the armpits in towards each other. Walking the hands forward and come back up onto the hands and the knees. Curling your toes under, lift up and press back into a comfortable down dog. Bend the knees and we're walking the hands back to the feet. So walking the hands all the way back to the feet and then slowly curling all the way up. Curling all the way up and rolling the shoulders. From here, keeping your back leg, which is going to be your left leg, bend the knee and step your right foot, so it's like a railway track, out to the side. But we're going to shorten the stance because we're on the ball of our foot, so the toes are turned in. So try not to have a too wide a stance, just where it feels right. And your front knee is on top of your ankle. You're pressing back into that heel and you're lengthening the tailbone back. So again, we're using this modification to create length through here. And the arm movement is going to be breathing in, raising the arms up, and breathing out, bending the elbows out to the side, drawing the shoulder blades together and down. The inhale, raising the arms up, and the exhale, drawing the elbows down, drawing the shoulder blades together. One more time, breathing in, raising the arms up, And breathing out, drawing the arms down. Relaxing the hands onto the hips, bending that back knee. And then step the back foot forward, and we'll come to the other side. So your left foot is forward, the knee is on top of your ankle, over your second and third toe, and we're picking up that back foot and we're turning the toes in so we're on the ball of the foot. And again, shorten the stance so it's comfortable so you feel balanced. Press into that back heel, lengthen the tailbone back, and feel that you're lengthening from this back side up. Okay, great. So what we're going to do here is we're going to breathe in, raise the arms overhead, and just hold it here. Breathing out, holding the arms here. Drawing your shoulder blades together and down, hugging the front of the ribs in. Press down through that front heel and underneath the pad of your big toe and little toe. Press into that back heel. Lengthen up through the fingers. A couple more breaths. And then interlacing the fingers behind the back, drawing the forefingers down, broadening into the front of the chest and collarbones. Shoulder blades drawing together and down. Then releasing the hands, bending that back knee, step the back foot forward. So now we're facing the long end of the mat, and we're going to find our 2 blocks. Hopefully you have 2 blocks, or 2 big blocks. We'll start with using the blocks that are turned sideways, and the feet are comfortably apart. So if you need to adjust your mat so you can still see me, because we're facing the long end of the mat and the feet are facing forward. And you're just opening the legs to where it's comfortable for you, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a little bit of a twist. A twist will be in an upper rib cage. So take the arms out to the side. We'll just relax the breath for the first round. Soften the shoulder blades down the back. Taking your left hand onto your block, your right hand is onto your sacrum, and feel that you're lifting out from that block. And then gently turning to your right, opening chest and ribcage out towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze feels better to look down. Maybe it looks better and feels better to look over the horizon, maybe up to the ceiling. Make sure we're not dumping into that lower wrist. And then maybe raising that right arm up at shoulder height. See how that feels. Otherwise, keep the hand on the sacrum. And then press for your feet, come all the way up. And relax your arms down. So taking the arms out to the side, and again, if the arms feel tired, you can always keep the hands onto your hips. That's the other option. Coming forward, take your right hand to the block, left hand onto your sacrum, and then opening chest and ribcage out and up to the left, lifting out of that lower block and choosing to either keep your hand on the sacrum or raising your arm at shoulder height. Softness in the elbow, lengthen through the fingers, press the floor away, and then coming all the way up and relaxing the arms down. So we're going to move with the breath. So we're going to float the arms up as we breathe in, breathing out, left hand to the block, right hand to the sacrum. Inhale, open chest and ribcage out to the right, keep your hand on sacrum. Exhale, turning to look down to the floor, breathing in to come all the way up, and breathing out to float the arms down. So inhale, raising the arms up. Exhale, taking right hand to block, left hand onto the sacrum. Inhale, turning to the left, chest and ribcage to the ceiling. Exhale, turn to look down. Breathing in to come up. Breathing out to relax the hands down. From here, just bend the knees because we're going to take the blocks underneath our face. So whether they're on the high end or the low end, you can judge what feels best for you to come into a forward fold. So first of all, I want you to feel your balance through this. So let's shift the weight forward towards the front of your feet and just see how that affects your center of gravity. And then shift your weight back into the heels. Just be careful we don't tip backwards. Yeah. And come to that point where you feel really stable. Now press into the little toe side of your feet, through your heel, and activate the inner line of your legs by imagine you're kind of sucking the inner arches up of your feet. And then we're going to soften the knees, bend them as much as you need to, hinge forward from the hips. Take your hands onto whatever height is best for you. Lift your sit bones up to the ceiling and slide your shoulder blades down the back. Press your face away from the floor. You can keep the knees slightly bent if that works, and we can stay here. Or if it feels like we want to go for a forward fold tonight, we can lower blocks if we want to. Slide them back towards the inner ankles and choose either to stay parallel to the floor or maybe hinging from the hips and lengthen the crown of the head towards the floor, feeling that we can allow a sense of release through the back of the neck, through the spine. So either staying parallel to the floor or coming into a forward fold. 2 more breaths here. So we use forward folds and inversions to bring a sense of upliftment into our system, but also cooling. And then bending the knees, shift the weight a little bit back, come all the way up slowly, especially if you get low blood pressure, okay? And then slowly walk your feet without the blocks, walking your feet all the way in. So we're going to do a standing balance here. Because we've had the feet apart, we want to try to draw everything into the midline. So shift your weight onto your left foot, bending your knee and crossing your right thigh over as if you're sitting down onto a stool and your toes are onto the floor. So you want to be nice and comfortable. Staying here, and you can keep your hands on your hips the whole time. Take your arms out to the side. I'm going to take our right elbow underneath our left and either back of the hand or the palms, whatever feels right. If this doesn't feel right, we can do hug asana, like give ourselves a hug. Okay, so see what feels best for our shoulders. Bring the elbows up. So imagine we're squeezing the inner thighs together and squeezing the hip bones in towards each other. And we're sitting down to where it's comfortable for our knees, rather than leaning forward for sitting down. Now choose to keep those toes on the mat, or choose to maybe hover the toes above the mat, your choice. Squeezing everything in. Squeezing the elbows in, squeezing the inner thighs in, sitting down to where it's appropriate onto this imaginary stool, on maybe toes on the floor, maybe toes off. Then coming up, open up, and then just gently giving some nice hip circles, kind of like a hula hoop. Because when we stand just on one foot, it can sometimes feel that we're taking a lot of pressure just on one side of our sacrum. So circling can often just kind of tell the body, oh, it's all good. We're going to go to the other side now. So we're doing the other side. So you're shifting the weight into your right foot. Soften the knee. Cross your left thigh and turn your toes into the floor. This is called eagle pose. Hips are even. And imagine that you're hugging your hip bones in towards each other and squeeze your inner thighs in. Elbows out to the side. So now we're taking the left elbow underneath and either back of hands or palms. Or again, if this doesn't suit our elbows or shoulders, like a big hug. Okay, raise your elbows up, sit down onto a stool that's appropriate height for the knees. Maybe the toes hover off the mat, maybe they don't. Squeeze the elbows in, squeeze the inner thighs in, lengthen up through the crown of your head, and connect with your breath. All right, then unwinding, and then come all the way out. Okay, from here, we're going to use our straps or scarf if you don't have a strap. We'll kind of fold it in half. It gives a little bit more chunkiness to it. So feet maybe just a little bit wider than hip width, facing forward. And again, feel that sense of shifting the weight a little bit forward and a little bit back so we have that nice stable base. Find that position. And if the hands are a little bit wider than the shoulders, I'll come back because my arms might disappear off the camera. So I'm taking my arms over my head and I'm just gently pulling the strap apart as I slide the shoulder blades down my back. I'm drawing my chin slightly in and back to keep the back of my neck long. And I'm pressing down firmly through that 3-point of contact of my feet. So the center of my heel, pressing that down, and the pad under my big toe and under my little toe, pressing that down, sucking up the inside arches of my feet. Okay, here we go. So we're going to take a breath in, just gently draw the strap apart and come over to your right as you breathe out, drawing the strap apart. When you breathe in, press down for your feet to come up. Come over to your left as you breathe out, gently drawing the strap apart. And inhale as you come up. So one more time on each side, just coming over and up, press for your feet. Breathe out to come over. Gently draw the strap apart as you do this. Inhale to come up. And breathing out, just relaxing that down. Rolling the shoulders. And taking the strap behind your back so you're holding on like this. And then bending the elbows. Have a generous bend to the elbows. Now start to draw your shoulder blades together and down your back. Hug the front of your ribs in. And keep the elbows slightly bent. Now, start to gently draw the strap apart, not with your full force, just enough to feel that you're strengthening, engaging the muscles across your chest and your shoulders, elbows slightly bent. Lengthen your tailbone down so we're not arching into the lower back. And now as you do this, imagine without lifting your feet off the ground because they're stuck in concrete, you're trying to lift your heels up, but they're stuck in concrete, and you should be feeling all these different muscles, deep abdominal muscles switching on. This is supporting your core as well. And relax and just kind of roll the shoulders a little bit. Let's come back to the top of our mat now. From the top of the mat, we're going to be floating down into a forward fold, a down dog, and then we'll come down onto the stomach. So hands into the center of the chest. So we'll sweep the arms on an inhale, out to the side, overhead. Breathing up, bend the knees, come to a forward fold, hands onto your shins. As you breathe in, a half lift, press the floor away, shoulder blades slide down the back. Breathing out, fingertip the floor. We'll just relax the breath. Let's go to down dog. Pressing back into down dog. Come back down to the hands and the knees. Come back into pose of child just for a couple of breaths. Soften your forehead down. Feeling that breath into your back. Another breath here. And then let's come to lie on a side, just supporting your head. Again, let's just lengthen into the top of the thigh. So the knees are comfortably stacked. And then taking the top foot and holding on to it. Now what I want you to do is I want you to start to lengthen your tailbone into the back of that mat. Because sometimes you have a tendency to kind of arch into that lower back. So lengthen your tailbone towards the end of the back to lengthen your lower back. Then press back through that hand with that foot. So sometimes we do what's called the bow pose in yoga when we're lying on our stomach and we're holding on to the top of both feet, which is a really lovely activation both for the energy of the abdominal center and also to create an opening into the front of the body and the back of the body. But because we just want to first of all create a little bit of release and lengthening, this is another version that you can do. Press back into that hand with the foot. So we want to be feeling that we're having and creating a sensation, a lengthening through the top of that thigh. And then just release that down. And then we'll go to the other side. So it might be just as easy to kind of like swivel over and just support that head, stacking the knees comfortably for you. Yep. And let's take hold of that top of that foot. Now again, lengthen your tailbone to the end of the mat. So you can feel that you are lengthening your lower back. And then start to press back into that hand with that foot. And maybe that thigh and the knee might be coming back. But we don't want to be loading into that lower back with any sensations that don't feel right. Because ultimately we're just creating a release from that top hip down the thigh and out through the knee. That's it. Still feeling that awareness now. Let's take 2 breaths and noticing our breath. Let's notice and feel when we breathe in, top of our inhale. And let's feel and really notice when we breathe out. Really notice all the way down to the end of the exhale. Let's do that one more time. Beautiful. And then just relax that down. Let's roll over onto the stomachs. So from here, we're going to take the forehead onto the mat, taking the palms down. We're going to keep the head low to begin with. So we're going to feel that we're lengthening back through that right leg. And as we breathe in, we're going to raise that right leg just a little bit off the ground to where it feels right for us. Breathing out, lowering it down. Feel that you're lengthening back through those left toes. When as you breathe in, raise that left leg a little bit off the ground to where it feels right. As you breathe out, lower it down. Lengthen back through your right toes and then breathing in, raising the right leg a little bit. Breathing out to lower. Lengthen back through your left toes, and as you breathe in, raise the left leg a little bit. Breathing out to lower. Just pause here. You can choose to stay here. And the other option, when we move into it, the other option is we can choose to raise head, chest, arms, and both legs off the floor. If you're not sure, I'll demonstrate once. We're going to be breathing in, raising head, chest, lengthen back through the fingertips, draw the shoulder blades down the back, and then coming down. That's an option, or we can stay doing one leg at a time and not raising up. So here we go. Breathing in, lifting up, or maybe just raising that right leg. On an out breath, coming down. We're only lifting to what feels right for us. Breathing in, coming up, or maybe just raising that left leg. Breathing out to come down. Have a rest or choose one more. If you're doing one leg at a time, come down and come up to do the other leg, and then coming all the way down. Beautiful. So let's take the elbows out to the side, rest our forehead on top, and we're rolling, kind of like a rocking sensation, the hips from side to side. This is a nice way often to create a nice release into that lower back. And then from here, curl the toes under, hands either side of the chest. We're lifting the hips up and back. I'm doing a little counter pose. We've done a few gentle back bends. We'll just counter with pose of child. Soften the forehead. A couple of breaths here. Slowly coming up. And then finding your bolster. So placing the bolster onto your mat, and let's find our blanket. And we can sit on this. You might need a little pillow or another blanket behind your head. Just see how you go. If you've got your 2 blocks, that might be quite nice. We're going to do the butterfly pose, the reclined butterfly pose. So when we come back, maybe 1 or 2 fist gaps, see how that feels. Some people like to be quite close. It feels good for the lower back. Other people need to have more space. So just feel into that. Soles of your feet are together. Okay, knees out to the side. And then you find the height of the blocks that you need to support your knees. To come back, lengthen tailbone to heels, and then coming all the way back, finding again that space between your buttocks. So if you feel that you're arching into that lower back, either go further away or see what it feels like to come closer in. Another option to support your lower back is to place a cushion underneath your buttocks. So you're lifting up, and that decreases the angle and can often provide relief. Arms are wherever you feel that you can create a comfortable opening through the chest. So maybe out to the side. You might want to take them overhead. Just kind of find that place where you're getting a nice little opening, palms facing up. And check in that your chin is drawing in and down. And see if you need a pillow or a blanket to help this. I'm going to close the eyes and tune into some diaphragmatic breathing. And we do this by focusing your breath in the abdomen. Next time you breathe out, feel that you're emptying out completely. When you breathe in, feel that you're expanding your breath into the abdomen, sides of waist expand into the lower back. As you breathe out, feeling the abdomen empty, sides of waist move in, diaphragm moves back up and snuggles under the rib cage. So when we breathe in, the diaphragm is expanding down. This helps to basically push the abdominal contents up and the abdomen expands. Breathing out, emptying the abdomen completely. Empty out, diaphragm snuggles back under the rib cage. So focusing your breath at the abdomen. Nice, slow and gentle breaths. Remember, we're focusing, looking tonight at how we can allow our system to come into that state where we don't go into that fight or flight mode so easily, knowing that when we do, the psoas muscle will tighten, which will tighten into the hip flexors, will tighten into our lower back, and also affect how we're breathing. So it's such a beautiful muscle to work with, to nourish. That's the word I'm thinking of, to nourish. So we have a couple more breaths here. And of course, sometimes we just need to ease into it as well. Right, bring the knees together. Let's straighten the legs now. Since they've been out to the side, let's straighten the legs out and allow that nice sense of lengthening. If it's comfortable, maybe take the arms overhead and hold on to the elbows. This may not feel comfortable for everybody's shoulders. You might feel better just to keep the arms out to the side. Okay, so option with your arms. Soften the shoulder blades down. And of course, if you didn't have a bolster, I'm hoping or presuming that you're lying on some nice, beautiful long cushions or pillows. Swap over, holding on to the other side. Feel you can really soften that rib cage down towards the abdomen. Feel you can lengthen that lower back as we soften the rib cage down. Releasing the hands, bend the knees. Let's roll over to one side. And then from here, we're going to come into constructive rest. We're going to have a really beautiful long relaxation. And we're going to use our chair. I hope that we've all got a chair. If you don't, that's okay. We could find one if you need to, because constructive rest in a chair is really lovely. I'm just going to go and find a cushion, which is right here. Placing a cushion, because I'm going to cover myself up with a blanket. And I'm going to have another cushion behind my neck and my head. So if you don't have a chair, then we can just go into a relaxation on our backs with the bolster underneath our knees. But this constructive rest is another good way to take the load off our back, to soften and create a release into its psoas. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a cushion underneath my buttocks and sacrum. It's quite flat and soft because I don't want it to be too high. And from the back, from behind my knees down, my feet are on the chair. Obviously, if you're like 6'3", you may need to move the chair away a little bit. And I'll be finding something to support the curve of my neck. And as always, if we have a gentle blanket, that can also create a nice sense of release, and it obviously will keep us warm. And taking the arms out to the side. So this is how, as an example, you could set yourself up. You're going to be here until the end of the class, into a guided relaxation with connection to your breath as well. So setting yourself up into a constructive rest. And again, beautiful pose to take yourself into, especially if you've had one of those days where you've been standing and you've had a lot of impact and weight into that lower back and pelvis. Or any time when you feel you just really need to release into that lower back, into a sense of letting go. Take your arms a little bit out to the side of your body. Find that sense of spaciousness here. If comfortable, closing the eyes down. Make sure and check in that you've got enough support underneath the buttocks, not too high, not too low, but like the Goldilocks in the porridge chicken, it needs to feel just right for you. And then feeling a sense of the whole spine, allowing to sink into the support of the mat, of the floor, and allowing a sense of release of your hips and your pelvis downwards, allowing a sense of release of the buttocks and the sacrum downwards, and allowing a sense of release of the back of the legs to be supported into your chair. And then checking in with the natural breath flowing in and out both sides of your nostrils. Finding and following the flow of your breath in and out of both sides of your nostrils. And allowing the breath to deepen here. From the breath, taking the awareness to listening to sounds outside of the space of the room that you're in. And shifting the awareness from sound to sound. From outside sounds, bring awareness of listening back into the room you're in and back into the sound of your breath. Become aware of the flow of the breath in your nostrils, allowing the breath to soften, to deepen. And then becoming aware and feeling into each of the body parts as they're named. Visualize each part and then shift awareness, letting it go from part to part. Let's begin down at the soles of our feet, feeling, visualizing the soles of our feet, all 10 toes, top of feet, ankles, heels, lower legs, kneecaps, top of thighs, back of thighs, hips, both buttocks, lower back, middle of back, upper back. Feeling your shoulder blades and feel the space between your shoulder blades, the back of the shoulders, and your right arm, feeling the whole back of your right arm, the wrist, back of hand, fingers and thumb, palm, inside of your right arm, the top of the right shoulder, right armpit, right collarbone, left collarbone, the back of your left arm, left wrist, back of hand, fingers, thumb, palm, the inside of your left arm, armpit, left shoulder, left side of chest, right side of chest, center of chest, right side of abdomen, left side of abdomen, the whole of your right leg from hip to toe, and the whole of your left leg from hip to toe. Right arm from shoulder to fingertips, and your left arm from shoulder to fingertips. Feeling the whole back of your body and the whole front of your body. Feel now into the back of your head, the top of your head, feeling your forehead, both temples, eyebrows, space between the eyebrows, both eyes, bridge of nose, nostrils, both cheeks, both ears, mouth, jaw, chin, throat space, center of chest, abdominal space, pelvic space, whole body, whole body, whole body. Bring awareness back into the natural breath in both sides of your nostrils now. And then take your breath down into the abdomen. As you breathe in, breathing into the abdomen, feeling it gently rise. Breathing out, feeling the abdomen empty out completely. Continue to feel and direct your breath in and out of your abdomen. Now letting the awareness of your breath go in your abdomen, bring your awareness into the center of your chest. And feel that you are directing your breath in and out of the center of your chest. Feel the breath easeful and soft, breathing in and out of the center of your chest. Now letting the awareness of your breath go here and bring your awareness to the base of your throat. And direct the awareness that you're drawing your breath in and out of the base of your throat. Soothing, smooth breath in and out of the base of your throat. Then letting this go and bring your awareness to your breath to the space of your forehead. As you breathe in, feel that you are drawing your breath into the forehead space and breathing out from the forehead space. And feel the breath is very soothing and smooth here, drawing your breath in and out the space of your forehead. And gently letting this breath go. Bring your awareness back to the space behind your closed eyes now. Gazing into the space behind your closed eyes, the space of the mind. And within this space, we are allowing ourselves to be the witness, detached and unaffected as we allow any thoughts, colours, pictures or patterns to play across the movie screen of our mind. Gazing into the space, becoming the witness. If you find you get caught up in a particular thought or a feeling or a picture, just acknowledge this and come back to witness. Just like we witness the clouds within the sky, we're allowing ourselves to be the sky, to allow thoughts to come and go without grabbing on or analysing them. Then gently begin to withdraw the awareness. If you have, for a couple of minutes, been the observer of your mind, come back to your breath now. Notice the breath in, and notice and feel the breath out. Notice the temperature of your breath as you breathe in. And how is it different to the temperature as you breathe out? And then come back into the physical body and really feel into the physical body, the strength, the health and vitality of your body. And then take a beautiful stretch in each direction. Take your arms over the back of your head and really luxuriate as if you're waking up. And it's going to be an amazing morning, but it's evening now, so we can wake up, so we can relax again. So let's roll over to one side, and we'll close the class. Coming up to a comfortable position for you, sitting onto what we need to support the hips and spine. Let's rub our palms together, get lots and lots of heat. You feel your arms getting tight. Let's cup our palms over our eyes and just imagine that we're taking this warmth from the palms into our body, bringing that sense of vitality back in. Let's bring that gratitude back to close our practice, bringing our palms together as a way of acknowledging our amazing body, amazing strength and health that we can claim into our body, bringing gratitude to our breath, and of course bringing that gratitude back into all our loved ones and our family and our friends and this amazing community which is doing so well here. So send that gratitude out to everybody else, and may we all be happy and safe and meet in person soon. So thank you so much. Just come over.